Well, wasn't that interesting? It was here. Apparently, the internet to this computer went down, and so we had to reconnect it. We had a collision on the information superhighway. That's what happened. So anyway, where were we? We were talking about astrophotography. And I want to show those two pictures again, and people, we may have a different crowd joining us. Sorry about the bumps in the road today. Still teething here. Yeah, so I will start over again. Went to the Nebraska Star Party. Haven't done any astrophotography to speak of in a few decades. I took this, I don't know, 10 or 12-year-old Canon camera and put it on a standard tripod, pointed at the sky, a little bit lower down than it is right here, but close enough. And I used a device called an intervalometer to open the shutter remotely and kept the shutter open for 15 seconds. I had the camera set to the widest view I could get, which is 35 millimeters, and the fastest f-stop, which was 4, and I just focused on infinity. Didn't try to get perfect focus. I literally just turned it to infinity and went on down the road and had an ISO of 2000. And with that, I was able to take some pretty darn good images right off the bat. When I was looking at the camera, I was like, boy, those don't look like much, because you couldn't see much on the visual back. And where you can review the pictures, but I just kept doing it and changed my ISO a little bit a couple of times, and voila, we got a really decent photo. Yes, it has some noise. Yes, it has some amp glow. Yes, it has some lines in it, but you know what? I'm pretty excited that that's the first picture I took. It looked pretty darn good. I've always advocated, if you have a digital camera already, and it needs to be a DSLR really, if you've got a camera, you can start doing astrophotography right now, simply by taking your camera and putting it on any standard tripod and starting the process just like I did. Now, I encourage you to write it down, what your exposures were, so you know all mine were the same. But great thing about modern cameras is when you open up the images, there's a way to look at the data, the metadata, that tells you the shutter speed and the f-stop and all that other information. So you have that, but it's better to write it down so you can look at it and help see what works. Okay. There you can see a smudge just to the left of center. That is the Andromeda Galaxy. When you see the Andromeda Galaxy, you're looking at something that's outside the Milky Way. It's the only thing you can see with your naked eye that is outside the Milky Way. Everything else you see in the sky is inside our own home galaxy. So you can see that with your naked eye. And then there's a smudge to the left of center about halfway up. Two little smudges, that's the double cluster. Beautiful cluster of stars under dark skies. You can see it as well with the naked eye. But camera, I didn't know what I was going to get. Took a little bit of manipulation and was able to tease out some really nice images that, frankly, I'm glad I took them and proud I did it. Next week, I'll show you what the raw images, the unedited images look like, so you can compare them. So there is some skills to learn in manipulating photos using Lightroom or Photoshop or GIMP or whatever, the native editing program that's on your computer. You get a lot of control with some of the higher programs like GIMP and Photoshop. So you need to just start doing it. But you're going to up your game a little bit. You're going to get to the point you're going to want to take a longer exposures, because Longer exposures gives more light hitting the sensor, which means you see fainter things, okay? So an IXOS 100 from Explore Scientific over in the carousel today, I believe $599 in the carousel. You can pick one up. They're ready to ship. You control it on its basic level with an app called Explore Stars. And if you have a tablet of a screen of at least 7 inches, an iPad, an Android, or a Windows tab, you can download Explore Stars and you can start playing with the program right now. Obviously, you don't have a mount that makes it move, but if you're interested in the mount, running the program helps you understand and learn what's going to go on. So when it happens, and when you buy the mount and it shows up, you've already learned how to run the program. It's really simple and straightforward to use. You can also run it wirelessly through Wi-Fi from the tablet to the mount using a Windows desktop or laptop computer. It's really simple. You can also go to a higher level. It's professional photographers, astrophotographers, people with lots of skills are using this mount as well. They run a wired connection to it and use other programs to control it. That's a whole different level, and you can learn to control it with the computer as well. Is that a 5D Mark III, 4 from Mike Overacker? It's a Mark III 2. Got to look at it now. 5D Mark II. It's a Mark II. So 10, 12 years old, Mike. And, you know, it's not got the modern processing and modern chips that if you buy a brand new camera you're going to get. But once again, you don't have to buy a new camera to start doing astrophotography. You can start really affordably. And once you get into it, and yeah, you like it, you want to improve, the next step to improve is going with a tracker mount that tracks the subjects you want to look at across the sky. Now I've got on here our camera adapter, so you can use your 1/4 20 thread in the bottom of your telescope to put it onto a mount, typical mount on a telescope. I'm going to rotate this so you can see it a little bit. I think you can see it right there. So heck, I'll just do this. I can move the mount. There we go. It goes right in here just like that. So there we go. So I'm just going to put it back to the home position and tighten the clutch. These are not locks, they're clutches, so you can still move it. You tighten them down, and you don't have to go all strong on it. You can simply tighten them down a little bit, and you're good to go. So I'm going to point this north. I'm going to use my smartphone, and I'm going to set the compass in my smartphone to use true north, not magnetic north, so it's going to point to true north. And then I'm going to make sure the camera's pointed that way, or a telescope. And once that's done, I'm simply going to fire up the app, connect my tablet to the Wi-Fi signal this is putting out. The mount has a built-in Wi-Fi module, just like your home router, and it's putting out a signal that says, "Here I am." When you connect up to it, you see the mount name pop up, just like your home router has a name. This has a name. It'll be PMC-8- whatever the serial number of your mount, or the number of the board is. Mine is 6854 with this mount. So, another question, Kevin Wilkinson, can you use the IXOS 100 with a ZWO ASI Air Plus? Absolutely. There's a little bit to it, but absolutely the ASI Air products will talk to the PMC system. Whether it's this mount, the IXOS 100, or the Exos 2 GT with PMC-8, either one will work with that. In fact, Tyler Bowman runs customer service and does astrophotography, uses an ASI Air product to run his mounts. So real straightforward process. Support's out there for it through us if you can't figure it out. If you have a question, you know, when you have this, you can contact customer service by going to the Amazon store here on Amazon Live. Go to the Amazon store for Explore Scientific, click Contact Seller, and we can assist you in that process if you need some help. So, Kevin, thank you for that question. If you're watching on Amazon Live, we'd love for you to give us a follow if you like what you're seeing. You know, we're selling technology here. We're selling the desire for people to get connected to the stars again. And it's not out of reach. It's not a difficult thing. There's things to learn, obviously, polar alignment, got to learn your camera, got to learn how to manipulate photos, but it's a bunch of nice, simple, easy stuff. You got to learn that stuff. Annie, what'd you say?
Oh, I was just on call if the internet was about to go out again.
Oh, well, internet may be going out again. How about that? So we got a couple of minutes before we run out of our time because we have a hard stop at 3:30, so you can get set up for another show. So I'm just going to show you, what do you want to go to, Annie? Pick some Messier object, maybe?
Sure.
Okay, let's go to Messier M3. So I'm going to tap on M3, and the tablet is going to tell us that M3 is a globular cluster of stars in the northern constellation of Canis Venatici. It was discovered by Charles Messier in 1764. Many amateur astronomers consider it one of the finest northern globular clusters. This cluster is one of the largest and brightest and is made up of around 500,000 stars, estimated to be 8 billion years old, 33,900 light years away. Slew to object. Go to object, and off we go. The mount's going to do the work. The computer, the tablet, is telling the mount what to do. There's no computer inside. There's circuit boards that run the micro stepper motors. Those micro stepper motors are belt driven. They're extremely powerful. We can set torque limits, so if it runs into something, it makes a chattering sound, or if the weight is so far out of balance, it'll start chattering. It won't damage anything. You simply have to get it back in balance and then take the telescope back to the starting position. Steve Malya has a question. Hey, Steve. I see you're using a Canon camera. Will it work with Nikons as well? Absolutely, it will work with Nikons and even Olympus and Minoltas and Sonys and any camera, Steve, with a 1/4 to 20 bolt in the bottom will work. Not a bolt, would be a nut, if you will, in the bottom of the telescope. So you can attach what you can see right here, the DSLR CDA, the camera adapter. It is shaped the specific way most telescope mounts are. So just like you'd mount your telescope, you can mount your camera. I have it set up in a weird way just to make it a little bit easier to see, right? And if you notice, Steve, I don't have any counterweights on here. I've got a fairly heavy camera on there that if I loosen the clutch, it's going to flop over. But you can see that the mount is strong enough, and the motors are good, are geared well. They can handle fairly significant imbalances without causing any trouble. That makes the mount more robust and very forgiving. You don't have to get it in perfect balance. In fact, I advocate always having your mount, your go-to mounts, well, even your manual mounts, a little bit eyepiece heavy, so a little bit on this side heavy, and counterweight heavy. Well, clearly, I can't get this counterweight heavy because there's no counterweights, but that's okay. If you do it the same way and don't have it in perfect balance, that's better than perfect balance, because when you're perfect balance, the gear teeth can lose contact because you're in perfect balance. A little wind can make it disengage, and so in that moment, it quits tracking, right? The drive gear may be turning, but it's not touching any teeth. So you always want it either lifting or lowering so the weight is enough. It can't flop back and forth from those as well. And so, yes, Mike says 1/4 to 20. It's a socket, as he says, but 1/4 to 20 is standard camera tripod thread size here in the Americas. In Europe, it's another standard, but there's adapters that you can go back and forth with. So we are past our 3:30 hard stop. I haven't been given the kill switch signal yet, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. On behalf of everybody at Explore Scientific, thank you for watching. It's been an interesting week working on some new programs and new ways and new people doing things that create some hiccups and bumps along the way. But hey, that's the joy of live TV, right? Not TV exactly, but might as well say it. Anyway, Noah Menard over in the Amazon Brain Center here at Explore Scientific, he looked over at me and said, okay. And Paul Newton, the director, producer, camera guy, all-around whiz with these electronic boxes that looks like launch control systems from NASA. And Annie, who's over there behind the monitor, I can't see her, she's learning these new skills. We appreciate you for watching. Somewhere is already Saturday, so enjoy the rest of your Friday. And if you're where it's already Saturday, enjoy your Saturday as well. We'll see you back here Monday at 3 o'clock for our Amazon Live broadcast, where we will be talking about what do you know, or how do you know? How do you know? Anyway, bye-bye, everybody.